persistency ratio. Now, that is one of the indicators, for the company and for regulatory authorities or whatnot, to indicate whether are you really selling well and ethically, right? But then the question here is, what if you have done your best, but yet your client still intends to lapse your policies for reasons that has nothing to do with you? Now, in this video, this is exactly what I'm going to share with you, what I did or said personally in the past. Just one very, very simple method to prevent your clients from lapsing their policies in the first place and to prevent your persistency ratio from dropping down. Okay. For you guys who don't know me, my name is Ben Ong, and founder of Authentic Advisory Systems, which was also previously known as 2XYC. I created this channel because there's a lot of FAs out there that are either broke or making tons of money but yet unhappy. Okay, so I hope that some of these lessons that I've learned about documenting my own process and journey will be able to help you, in the advisory business, help you make more money while being happy, purposeful, and authentic. Okay, so context, right? So first of all, right, when the first layer of quote unquote defense, I will call it, right, is that when it comes to having a higher chance of, or having a lower chance of them lapsing the policies, right, is also to make sure that they pay in annual as much as possible, right? And the reason here is that it's a psychological thing, right? People that have already committed to paying annual usually carry on for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? You usually don't have a problem with premium payments, etc., etc. People, and that's because, right, it's a psychological thing where there's more upfront commitment, right? They kind of like, you see, the more money you invest or more money you pay, technically the more committed you are, right? It's just a human thing, right? So when they put in a lot more money and they put it one shot, they'll feel like, you know what, I'm committed to this, and usually they'll tend to carry on with the policies. Now, the problem is that when you do monthly, obviously, you have to do with cash flow, depending on the prospect, yada yada, and all that stuff, right? Which is obviously granted and necessary. You should do your due diligence and what's best for them. But just generally speaking, if someone does like a monthly kind of payment, usually the commitment is not very high, right? So to them, they feel like they can just cancel at any point in time. To them, it's just like a gym membership. It's no different from a gym membership, right? To them, right? Now, to you, it's a big thing, right? Because you sold a policy, and then at a point in time, they lapse the policy, you get affected, right? But to them, they don't get affected at all, right? Because and that's why, like, people that does monthly, usually the commitment might not really be the highest. So the first thing I would suggest personally is to really do annual payment. Now, if they cannot do it, I mean, this is not the main point of this video, but just generally, I'll probably make another one. But generally speaking, number one is to make sure that if they can do annual payment. Now, if they can't, don't jump to monthly, right? Jump to quarter, jump to semi-annual, jump to quarter, then jump to monthly, right? So you have all these different lines of defenses in that sense, right? You don't have to downsell them the different payment plans rather than doing jumping straight to monthly, right? Now, your prospect will probably ask you, can I do monthly, right? And you don't have to tell them and say that, oh yeah, sure, you can. And let's do that, right? I think it's more of like, hey, yes, there's money option, but more often than not, most of my clients tend to do either annual or at most semi-annual, right? Because they don't want to, then you can give a reason, right? Maybe they don't want to keep thinking about the payments every single month. Maybe it's because, like, they just want to get it over and done with and then move on with their lives without caring about this as much as well, right? Etc. etc. Right? So that's usually kind of reasons that you can give as well. Okay, so that's why the first one is always to get as much money up front as possible, right? Not only is it good for you, it's also good for the company, right? I mean, of course, it's good for you because it helps with awards. You do MDRT, annual premiums or annual payments are usually the best, right? So that being said, right, the problem with like people lapsing the policies is that persistency ratio can be quite a bitch sometimes, right? Because sometimes you get people lapse the policy because it's not, even though it's not your fault, even though it's all on them, for example. And then if it affects you, it affects your commissions, it affects your bonuses, it might even affect your award. Okay, so this is one simple method that I realized that after this happened to me for a few times, then I realized that, okay, cool, you know what, this I tried something, right? This is one simple method which I'm going to share with you now, right? And trust me, after I did ask that question or I did this method, I don't think I have anyone lapsing the policies after that, right? Yeah, it's just a very simple question. Okay, so basically, at the end of the sale, right, or the end of the entire 2 appointments, 3 appointments that you do, signing a policy, right? And then they're going to make payment or basically just going to submit application, right? So you can ask this question, right? So this is a question I usually ask. I say, hey, so this amount, monthly premium, quarterly premium, this is okay, right? or even if it's annual, I would also ask the same question, right? So this is the payment. Let's say let's say this person is doing money. Yeah. So anyway, this is monthly. It's $150 per month, right? Every single month, and things like that, right? You're not, and you're okay with this, $150 a month, okay, yeah, within your budget, it's good for you, it's comfortable, yes, right? And they say yes, and I say, okay, cool. This is a key question, huh? So you're not gonna, and I ask you, you're not gonna pay 6 months or 3 months after you stop a policy, correct or not? You're not gonna do that, right? Yeah. So that's sort of now. So this is the powerful question, right? Because when you ask that, right, they're going to say no. They're obviously going to say, "Oh no, of course I'm not going to lapse," right? But the very fact that they say no, they are committing to themselves, right? Meaning to say that they are holding themselves in a higher regard, that they are not that kind of person, right? So it's more on them than it's on you, right? So it's a psychological thing, right? Another variation of this question, right? I'll just sound like me in a more casual manner, and I say like, hey, you know what? You're not gonna stop paying for 3 months. You're not gonna pay for 3 months, then stop a policy, right? Like you're not gonna be a responsible person for 3 months, then after that become irresponsible, right? Then they say, no, of course not. See, another variation of this question is, hey, you're not gonna do your hey, this is a 12 months policy, this is a lifetime commitment, this is blah 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 commitment. Okay, you're not gonna halfway through drop out and then do this to me, right? You're not gonna do that, huh? Yeah. Right. So then when you ask question, they will obviously say no. But I also can tell you that because they make a commitment not to you, but they make a commitment to themselves. They make a commitment to themselves. This is less about us as a salesperson, but it's more about them. Like they are that kind of person. They are a responsible person. They are the kind of people that will make promises and also keep them, right? And keep their commitments as well, right? So it's already a commitment for them, which is a good thing, right? Because we never ever want our prospects or clients to lapse their policy, right? Because they are reducing their coverage, and we all know the consequences of if you don't really have a ton of money. We all know the consequences of not having insurance. That help us with our financial planning, right? So basically, that's literally the simple method. Very, very simple, right? So the next time when you're doing this, you can just kind of ask, right, in a very casual manner, right? You don't have to be like serious. I usually do it in a very fun, casual manner. I said, hey, so this is okay, yeah? You're not going to pay 3 months, then you stop a policy, right? I just have the casual manner, right? Oh, they say, oh, of course, no, and stuff like that. This is usually the kind of response, right? Right. So that's kind of the big idea here. So basically, again, when the prospect commits or replies and says no, and I'm not the kind of person, whatever it is, right? Like I mentioned, number one, it creates a micro commitment. Number two, they're committing themselves and their values as a person to you and to themselves, and not to the plan, right? So I think this is also another. I think I read it. I learned it from Persuasion, right? By Robert. Is it Robert Cialdini? I can't remember the name. Okay, but it's Persuasion. Or is it by Influence? Okay, but anyway, this is an amazing book, right? And it says that when someone it says that humans have a need to be consistent with what they say or do. So if someone says no, I won't lapse, it's hard. Not saying that they won't, but it's hard for them to be incongruent with what they say, right? To be incongruent with what they say, right? So if they say no, then they next month they lapse. Hardly the case, right? Because people or humans have an inherent need to be consistent with the things that they say or do. Okay, so basically, but let's say touch wood, like in the event it does happen, right? They're gonna lapse the policy or whatnot, right? What most likely happens is that they'll probably reach out to you first and probably want to work out the situation with you, right? Rather than just lapsing the policies straight, right? So and that's my own personal observation experiences, like people who have issues or even with payment, which is a genuine issue, they'll tend to talk to you nicely or open up a different avenue or want to work together with you to find a way to solve or go about this, right? Okay, so I think also like just a side caveat or a sidetrack to this, right? It's like sometimes I feel like is people lapse policies not because like they don't have the money, to be honest. Like, I mean, sure, there'll be cases where they really have no money, but in my experience, I think people lapse policies not because they don't have money, because they definitely have money for other things, right? It's just that they don't find it as important or as valuable as compared to the first time they bought it, or as compared to their Wi-Fi, etc., right? Because people always forget the reason why they buy. Okay, so again, if it does happen where you have to have the kind of conversations about the lapsation and everything else, always remind them the reasons why they buy, right? And their commitment to this in the first place. Okay, so basically, all in all, remember to just do the simple method is just do a pre-frame by asking a committal question to your prospects after they sign the policy. Okay, right? And to really get more of a micro commitment so that you can minimize the chances of lapsation happening to you. Okay, so I hope this serves you. I hope this is helpful for you, right? If you find this video valuable, please send it to your friends, please send it to your other advisors, colleagues, so that they can enjoy, they can learn from this as well, right? And get them subscribe also. And if you are watching this, right, and you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe this. If you don't, I say a lot of love for you and hope you enjoy. Okay, so stay amazing, stay awesome, do the amazing work that you are doing, right? And I'll see you in the next video.